Rebecca Castor live in Glendale, Arizona. Thank you so much for that report. And we were hearing from Rebecca about the high level of security as we take a live look outside State Farm Stadium. Tens of thousands of people expecting to attend the memorial service, and already folks are lining up to enter into the stadium. As Rebecca was saying, for part of this, the security measures are incredibly tight, on a similar level of federal law enforcement presence as for events such as the Super Bowl or other high profile events. So to talk more on the security, I do want to bring in former FBI Special Agent Miguel Clark to talk more on this. Miguel, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Live Now from Fox.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. So we're taking a live look outside the State Farm Stadium. Tens of thousands of people expecting to attend. President Trump, along with many of his cabinet members, are also going to be attending the service. Typically, Miguel, I have to imagine that law enforcement has weeks, if not months, to prepare for a significant event such as this when it comes to security. That wasn't the case for this memorial service. What is the typical procedure when it comes to preparing for an event like this?
Well, you already heard that this is similar to the Super Bowl. So like the special event rating that they have, it's a Tier 1. So for something like that, you're going to have pretty much every level of law enforcement is going to be consulted. Seeing as how this is football stadium and they probably have past and present preparations for upcoming Super Bowl type of events, this is something that they're going to be very comfortable with doing. So you probably have FBI's hostage rescue team that's either on standby or present. You're going to have other elements from other law enforcement, federal law enforcement that'll be present as well. And I'm sure there'll be state police, county, as well as the local police department that is there preparing for that. Obviously, the local FBI office is going to be involved. There's probably 1, 2, or 3 different command posts that are there. What's going to escalate this above, this technically could be considered above a Tier 1 event because the president is probably going to be in attendance, as is the vice president as well. So this is probably the highest level of security that you're going to see for an event.
Now, let's talk about State Farm Stadium itself. It's a football stadium. It can house tens of thousands of individuals. When it comes to security, does it actually help that it's inside a stadium? Does that actually make this memorial service more secure?
It does. The height of the stadium itself is about the height of the Statue of Liberty, approximately. And so then it's all the way enclosed. It has a retractable roof as well. That makes it a little bit easier because you're less concerned about long sight lines. And if you did have long sight lines, then you're talking about somebody who needs to have a lot of skill in order to be able to make shots like that. So think that there's going to be sniper teams, there'll be counter sniper teams. There's also going to be focus on cyber. So looking across multiple different internet platforms to try to determine whether or not there is any type of a threat that's coming from people well, anywhere on the web. Right. So that could be in the U.S., that could be foreign influence as well, or that could be kind of homegrown influence, anybody that would use the web in order to try to coordinate some type of an event.
We're taking a live look outside the stadium, and we see thousands of people already lining up. The memorial service itself is not slated until 2 p.m., but I imagine it's going to take an extraordinary amount of time to, allow everyone to enter in, but also to screen everyone. When it comes to something like this, what is the procedure for that?
Well, I went on the website to look at what their security procedures were, and Turning Point, the procedures were very, very simple, right? So they're going to limit the size of bags, and the bags that are allowed to come in are, clear bags. They're limiting the size of liquids that are allowed to be brought into the event as well. The other thing that I remember seeing on there, I'm assuming magnetometers, all those things will be screened. Typically, or in some situations, you might have contract employees that are doing the screening. I imagine the screening here will be either assisted by or performed by law enforcement. So there's going to be a higher level of scrutiny. And as you look, you see there's really long lines that are, serpentine lines to get to those security checkpoints. Law enforcement has a lot of opportunity to look at people as they're coming in to these events. And so if you're an individual who has an intent to commit some type of violence, you tend to be a little bit more self-conscious, and you think that people can look at you and see what you're intending to do. And so that causes people, well, normal human beings, that causes them to act in ways that might divulge their intentions.
Miguel, I also wanted to talk to you about something that previously happened. There was an armed man who allegedly impersonated himself as a member of law enforcement, and he was eventually let go on bond. Turning Point USA stating that they do not believe that the person was intending to do anything nefarious. But the fact that he was armed, and walking into this very secure facility, what do you make of that?
Well, in these types of situations, you're going to have a couple of different things. Number one, you have people who fashion themselves as heroes, law enforcement. They want to be part of the solution as they see it. And so they're going to self-deploy. You could have people who maybe were in law enforcement or not assigned to the event. And those folks might decide they want to self-deploy as well so that they can be part of the event. And so, that's the first thing that I'm thinking about, especially since they let the man go. So they were not able to determine any other type of intention that would give them a reason, probable cause, to be able to hold this individual at least until the event was done. And the fact that they let that person go at that point in time, it suggests to me that it was somebody who thought they might be able to help and self-deployed to the location.
With an event such as this, with the president attending and other cabinet members, Vice President J.D. Vance also, is there a no-fly zone? How does that work in the vicinity?
Absolutely. There's going to be air cover that's there. There's a plan for providing security at that level for everything above the event. Now, obviously, it's probably not going to impact commercial air traffic, but for everything else, there's going to be an area around the event where you're not allowed to fly at all. And if they, through their cyber investigations, have determined that there's some type of an additional threat, they may actually just close that roof dome as they're able to do in order to provide an additional layer of security and to remove the observability factor from people who may have an intention to do something at that event.
And I just wanted to share with our viewers, Miguel, this photo right here, a video of Air Force One. And we do know that President Trump will be making his way to Glendale, Arizona. Also in attendance, as we were mentioning, some of his cabinet members, Vice President J.D. Vance right there. But we're talking about a sitting president who is going to be attending the memorial service, and then also will be speaking. How does security change, if at all? This is already designated one of the highest tiers of security. But when you have President Trump attending a memorial service with tens of thousands of individuals, how does that change the response, the plan, the procedure, the strategy?
So one of the main things that I would say would make that change is that, for a normal Tier 1 event, you're really trying to secure the event. And in this particular instance, you're trying to secure the event as well as secure the principal, the president of the United States here. So I imagine that Secret Service is going to have a lead role in how all of this is going to work. The advanced team has probably already been on the ground and have made some recommendations, and I would use air quotes for recommendations, as to how they want security to be set up. I have had the pleasure of being at an event where the sitting president, was actually speaking, and I was in the FBI at the time. And, the level of coordination that takes place, just the level of control that's there, it's almost otherworldly. So going to major sports events, it's very similar to that, but they also have a plan in place and contingencies in place to protect the president from any of the threats that could transpire.
So we've talking about the stadium itself. We've also talking about the no-fly zone. But when it comes to the footprint of the security parameters, Charlie Kirk, is a polarizing individual. We've seen some very divisive speech. We've seen divisive events occur since his assassination. Is there a parameter, because one has to imagine that there is high concern for protesters, for bad actors to try and perhaps not infiltrate the stadium itself, but even just the vicinity of this?
That's always going to be a concern. And if I recall correctly, the president has designated Antifa as a as a terrorist organization, allowing the United States government to bring significantly more powers to bear on investigations as it pertains to what tools that can be used in order to either infiltrate or to study or to collect intelligence against these types of organizations. I imagine for an event like this, it's going to be extremely difficult. This is not an event that I would want to try to target. It's not something I would imagine that I could target successfully if I were a bad guy. It's very, very difficult. They're expecting some level of threat. So a lot of what you're going to hear from people who have an intention to do something is going to be aspirational, and they may not have any ability to actually execute that plan, and any plan that would be executed would likely be poorly executed.
Miguel, as always, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Live Now from Fox.
Thank you very much for your time.
And I wanted to bring this stream for you. What we're hearing from our streaming partners is that this is not live. This is a taped playback, but we are expecting President Trump to fly to Glendale, Arizona. He will then honor Charlie Kirk at the memorial service. So we did want to share this with you as we are receiving this for the very first time. We are being told that this is not live, but they are sharing this recording to us for the very first time. So we did want to share that with you, as you do see President Trump now making his way onto Air Force One right here. He will then be traveling to Glendale, Arizona. He will be speaking at Charlie Kirk's memorial service. So unfortunately, we do see that this stream, has some glitches right here. We also have another look of the very same one right here that isn't glitching. So we did want to bring that to you as we see President Trump. He's not making any remarks. He's just walking straight to Air Force One. But I did just want to raise the audio so we can hear that ambient noise.